Hello, hello, people. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the PreJump podcast where we've got everybody that you love to see. We've got Mr. Thog and Mr. Tech4 on the desk. Fellas, how is your night going tonight?
Oh, not too bad. Happy to be here again and ready to talk some RSC as we're getting close to the end of the season. I cannot wait to see what is about to be thrown down here.
For
I'm
sure,
doing
for
pretty
sure.
well as well. Not gonna lie to anybody, I woke up 4 minutes ago. Doing great.
Hey, man, we got you. We got you in the booth. Everything looks great. I just realized you were super far up in the box because I had you. I was originally getting Thog set up there for a brief second. Let me just lower you here on cam. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Now his head's not clipping through the top. Look, everybody, it has been a fantastic week. There's a lot going on in the league, and I think really it's going to be great to just get jumping right into the. I gotta turn the music down. That's holy heckin' loud. There we go. We'll go ahead and we'll jump right on in. We'll talk a little bit about the first thing we did, which was yesterday. We'll talk about the Among Us show match. I totally just lied to Thog right before. I told him we're going into stream games first. Joke's on you. I pulled the juke move. This was a
Pretty sus.
great. This was pretty sus. This was fantastic. I had a lot of fun, Tech. Did you have a lot of fun last night?
I just saw a post from Blister, which like if you know, you know, like A plus Blister.
Oh.
But no, it was a lot of fun. Like for especially like such a just weird kind of funny. I don't know, like an idea that you had like mid-season, and then for it to come together, and I think we all had just a great time. Like, man, like I mean, shout outs to everybody, but like specifically, I gotta give a huge shout out to Naro as well. That probably like gave me one of the funniest DMs I've ever received in my life during it. Like, it was just such a good time.
Oh, dude. After I was like physically forced to play with the rest of you guys, and Nara was like, "No, boss is clearly a killer." I went and gutted him right on top of Cam's, and he messaged me immediately right after. He's like, "How could you? I knew it." Oh, but God, dude. Yeah, for those of you who know, I probably won't be doing an Among Us stream like that for a little bit. For those of you who don't, I got a strike last night. Oh God, I threw some shade midway through the stream. It was well worth it. I'm just putting out there. I want to apologize for my use of derogatory terms, but it was well worth it.
I don't know if it was midway through. I think it was like
It was
3
towards the
minutes
beginning.
in.
I think it was towards the beginning because I expressly told
It was
everybody,
like first
"Hey."
round.
I was like, I expressly told everybody before. I was like, "Hey, GMs, admins, hey, please don't swear on stream. We're trying to be good. We're trying to be clean, have wholesome fun." Immediately right after it, somebody messaged me going, "Dude, this is great, but you're getting a strike for this."
Oh man.
Oh God. No, I just wanted to call that out here before we roll into more serious actual RSC topics. Speaking of which, I guess, do we want to do the announcement tech a little later, or do you want to do it now? Like, how do you want to do that?
I mean, I'm totally good. And, I mean, I'm for whenever you want to kind of throw it in there. Is it? I guess I should ask. Is it just me or is it both of us?
It's both of us, so I'm fine to do it whenever. It's up to you. We can do Stream Gatch recap if you want a little bit of a buffer
Let's
before we just...
Let's talk about some stream matches, and then we can jump into it.
For sure, for sure. Well, for those of you who did actually follow some RSC action this week, we had 3 matches on stream. On Monday, Mr. Thog himself casted by himself because he casted, what was that, Rival, Tort Reform, and Anubis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, how was that, buddy?
It was honestly like the best type of match you can get when you're casting by yourself. Because it was just like there was so much going on, and like even in the first game, it was like there was 0-0 up until 5 minutes, and there was an overtime, and it was one of those series where it felt like both teams, even though the series ending ended up being 3-1 Tort Reform, if I'm not mistaken. It really felt equal and even out, and it was fun. And after a period of time, I just got a rhythm going, and there were some people out in chat that kept it live. So, casting by yourself, it was definitely it was fun, and I definitely enjoyed it. I still love casting with other people though. I think that always is, fun, and you have that like dynamic. So it's like interesting when you don't have that, and you have to kind of like build your momentum off of yourself. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, if you've got another caster, you can feed off their energy, you really build upon each other. But when you're by yourself, I mean, man, you don't even have a second to really drink water. You just got to plug on through it. So,
Yeah.
more of the
Yeah.
props to you, my man. I'm not going to lie.
I gotta give
Thank
you a
you.
huge shout out too, because that was something I didn't realize that you were by yourself for quite a while. HUD kind of made a message, and I jumped into the VC and like I sat there for a few minutes, like just in case he needed me. But it was like, damn, he's doing really well. Like, I don't think I should jump in even if he wants me, because this is just going like really well, and I don't want to like disrupt the flow at this time. Like, you did a really good job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So, as we kind of get off the Thog glazing train here, we're going to go ahead and talk about the matchup itself, which, for those of you who did tune in, Tort Reform took 3 out of the 4 matches on stream. Looked really solid. It looked like they were led pretty well by Jack Awano. Mr. Thog, did you see anything different, or was Jack really a jack of all trades?
Jack is definitely going to be their A-star player going into this, especially going into playoffs. Definitely somebody that I think any team that's going against them needs to watch out for. Just because I just noticed he's very dynamic and he was able to transition in a lot of different ways. I believe the player Cowtooth, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that's like their defensive godly creation that they
Oh,
put on the
no,
back
not
line.
Caltooth. Don't give that man any credit.
No, I mean that series, especially the last 2 matches, just like really saw them shine. And honestly, like they have a good team, but that's not to say that Anubis doesn't have the potential as well. I just felt that I think they weren't able to keep up with the physical play, that was being thrown down in a lot of ways, and I think that they had the physical moments, they just didn't time it well in the midfield, and that's really kind of what shut them down in a lot of phases. But I think Anubis still has a lot of potential as a team together, but definitely Jack played just a huge role in that series alone, and it just felt like at any time they were on the offense, it was Jack who was making some sort of redirect. I think it was game 3 that there was just this crazy redirect where you see Jack like flying across the screen. He gets this like perfect touch past 2 defenders, and I mean it made the series so easy to cast because you just had these moments, and it was a really honestly it was a moment I won't forget for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, for those of you who were listening to him but saw my player card come up, I had to go get a cup of tea. I'm thirsty, man.
I hear you. I got my vitamin water right here, man.
No, and I would say not only like is it cool to be able to watch those stream matches when the matches are great, but they were also super important too when we're looking at this whole playoff picture. Anubis, actually I'll start off with Tort Reform right now, looking at the number 2 seed in Solar. So picking up that 3-1, super important for them, staying above Brashtons in their division. But also Anubis, like, I know it's a 1-3, like, you're not always happy just taking one game. But when you're looking at that playoff hunt, taking that one game is super important, because right now they're sitting 2 games up over Blizzard, who Blizzard is, like, the 9th team right now in Solar. So that one game is huge. They also went 2-2 on Wednesday right after that, so... like I said, like you don't want to go out and 1-3 on stream half the time, but against a team like Tort Reform, getting that one game could be the difference between them making playoffs.
True, and they only lost 2 games by 1 goal, so like in the grand scheme of things, that really could have been a 3-1 in their favor, especially when you look at like their boost consumption and how many little pads they were picking up the entire game. One game is definitely solid, but I'm not gonna lie to you, man, they were that close to getting 3 games off of Tort Reform, which would have been massive.
Yeah, I definitely. I feel like honestly, if you're going into this series alone, like as Anubis, you know you're the underdogs. Like, and I think when we went into the series, I believe it was 28 and 16 for tort reform versus um I'm blanking on exactly what Anubis had, but it was somewhat of a more even scaling. So they definitely had like a uphill battle, and I think going 1 and 3 in that case, is nothing to shy away from. And like I said, they definitely, in a lot of moments, had the opportunity. It was just these last moment mistakes that kind of, really kind of killed their momentum in a lot of ways. And so I think that they have definitely playoff potential here, and they can definitely, come back. And it would be amazing to see a rematch in a grand final. If we saw that somehow, I would love. That would be amazing. I would love to cast that. But yeah, definitely, I think that they have a lot of potential as a team. Um, just a few things they got to work on in terms of uh, rotational things, but that's with every team in any league. So. That's about it.
True. True. Well, fellas, anything else you guys want to be throwing at the wall here about this rival matchup? Or are you ready to move on to Wednesday's games?
I'm excited to talk about Wednesday's games.
All right, well, Wednesday's matchups, for those of you who weren't really paying attention to the league, is living under a rock here for sure. Wednesday, we had a prospect matchup at 10:50. That was between Whiskey Business and the Prism Proteges. And then an Amy matchup at 11:30, Buns of Steel versus Sloth. We'll start off with Whiskey Business and the Prism Proteges. Going in favor 3-1 of the Bakery once again. This was not as close as I thought it was on paper. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah.
looking at the, sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
No, I mean I'll just throw out there, right? Like Whiskey Business 40 and 16, Prison Proteges 20 and 36. Like there's honestly props to be given out here for Prison Proteges taking a game off. Whiskey. Now, Whiskey phenomenal game. Like if they would have completed that 4-0, they would have kept with a three-way tie their first place spot. They've had that almost the entire season. They did. It's interesting too to kind of look at them because the last time we saw Whiskey Business on stream, they ended up 2-2ing. I think it was Sparks. Sparks just had a change of players, so like a little bit better of a team than their record shows. But I think there was a little worry about, how is Whiskey going to perform on stream, and of course as a top seed you want to be looking at that going into playoffs. So I think them going out and getting the 1-3, even though it was against like a little bit of a lower team, like I think that kind of solidifies them in their mind a little bit that, the lights don't matter anymore. We can still win series on stream, so if we make it to the playoffs, they're in playoffs, but if we make it to the finals, then we don't have to worry about, the nerves there.
Well, and Whiskey Business is kind of in a weird spot, right? Like we're getting ready to go into the playoffs, and they're 10-10 in their last 5. Like, yeah, they went 3-1 on stream, but I'm a little nervous with the rest of their regular play. They might end up stumbling into a team that's not exactly so, because the other team they could have been playing could have had stream jitters, right? Like you play on stream, you get a little like rattled. You go up against a team though that's completely unaffected by it, and they just really don't mind. That could be an issue in one of the opening rounds of the playoffs. Like, it just makes me a little nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get that, and I guess I was wrong. They actually got 1-3'd by Sparks. But if you look at those last matchups, they, of course that Sparks matchup I talked about, they 2-2'd Spastics, who's another top team. Barbarians, they got 3-1 by Barbarians, who is right now tied for that first place. And then they played against Attention Demons as well. I mean, they got the 3-1 there, but there is out of those last 5 games, there is a few very, very good teams there. So 10-10 obviously is going to be concerning for them, but I think it's better than what it shows.
I think that's fair. Mr. Thog, any kind of thoughts from you there for that matchup?
I mean, honestly, I think looking at the series, I didn't watch it originally, but I did a little catch up, and Whiskey Business just had a lot of momentum going into that series. It felt like, and I think that they had Prism had a lot to battle against in that, and so the fact that they were actually able to like cut that momentum off, especially after the first game being 4-0 and the second game being 3-0, like those are high scoring goals to be put up against you, and for you not to put a single goal down and then have to come back and kind of stop that momentum, like honestly, that's not a bad showing from them at all. And I think they definitely showed up and tried their best, and I think they just maybe got beat a little bit by the other team coming out ready to play. That just sometimes happens.
It's very fair, and I think especially once we get, I don't think we're talking about it tonight, right? We're not talking about prospect finals or playoffs. No, we're talking about Amy, Tendy, and Prem later, I believe. Yeah, that's who we're talking about. Eventually, we talk about prospect. We can probably dive a little bit further into it, but I really don't have anything else I want to talk about for this prospect matchup. If y'all are good to roll into the last matchup of the night, which for me was kind of the most interesting by far.
Yeah, that was a spicy match to put on stream, especially with everything else that happened that night. Go ahead, boss. And
well, I was going to say that to kind of set the stage a little bit for those of you who saw, the Bunts of Steel were on the cusp of getting into the playoffs. They needed a 4-0 sweep to actually lock up that fourth spot and squeak in. And they had the best opportunity they had. They were playing against Sloth, who's had a difficult season all season, just finding good chemistry on the pitch. But if Sloth took a single game that night, it was over. Bunts of Steel done. Shadows would have had their playoff spot locked up. Bunts of Steel went in 4-1, 2-1, 3-2, and then dropped to Brazil in Game 4 against the Shadows. So this is definitely a team that really said, hey, we want the game, we want the chip, or we want to at least get a chance at the chip. Let's make it happen. And they did. They really did.
I gotta give another little story here too, because I jumped into I jumped into the bakery server, kind of just watched it with Armo and a few others from the bakery, and it was funny because they performed very well through the entire thing. They get out, and then of course the AMI team comes in. We congratulate them, and Armo talks to Casca, the captain, because Casca made a change for Game 3. They had won Game 1, they had won Game 2, pretty handily, and then they're like, yeah, let's make a sub. So Armo told him, did you know that you had a 4-0 to make playoffs? Casca's like, yeah, of course I did. Why did you make a change after going 2-0? I was like, oh, I don't care who we play. We knew we were going to get it. I was like,
ooh, that's some spicy confidence.
It was too, and I loved it too, because Slash Robo was the guy who went in Game 3, really fantastic season in AMI last season, but obviously good player. It's not like you're bringing in somebody that can't perform at that level, but it's just spicy to change up the lineup, have that confidence in everyone on your team, and they performed. Game 3 was a little bit closer. It was a 3-2, but then to Brazil with that same lineup, Game 4. This is a team that I know when we look at playoffs, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but when you have that confidence and you get that 4-0 to make playoffs, oh baby, I would be very scared of this team if I was an AMI in playoffs right now.
Well, and they've done it before. We've seen the Bunts of Steel with a fairly similar roster. Granted, they had Raichu that season, but they were 6th. They made it into the playoffs in the 3rd spot, beat the 2 seed, beat the 1 seed. Beat the 2 seed, beat the 4 seed, because the 1 seed got bounced in the first round. But yeah, they ended up winning a chip from 3rd. And in AMI, all of the matches are going to be played same night. This is kind of an interesting spot. We'll get into it a little further when we actually talk about AMI. But this is going to be whatever team is hot that night is probably taking the chip. And if this team's getting hot at the right time, watch out for sure. Am I lost here? Everybody else here? We good?
No, you're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, my bad. I feel like I don't have anything to add on that match. It was just, it's definitely a tough series, that Sloth had to go against. I think they didn't do too bad, honestly. I mean, if I'm not correct, I was looking back at the series, and I think 2 games they only lost by 1 goal. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
For a
Yeah, I
team that's
mean,
been
like,
struggling all season, they definitely played pretty well.
yeah. Like it's definitely, I mean, yeah, they definitely came up, and to do it on stream too. Like, again, if we're getting 4-0 is tough, but I mean, in a lot of cases, you really gotta look at the positives, and just come back with a better mindset next season. Yeah, at this point.
True. True. Well, I think that wraps up pretty nicely our. Oop, took off my light there. I think it wraps up pretty nicely our stream recap. We can probably go ahead before we get into our tier predictions. Tack, I think it's that time of the night where we just kind of let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, sounds good. I assume you want me to go first?
Either way, I can go first or you can go first. Mine became a little bit more complicated today, so either way.
Mine's not, so I'll kind of start off. I appreciate, obviously, you giving me kind of an avenue to do this. Oh, Chule said he would go first. Go ahead, Chule.
All right, Julian, we're waiting for you on the mic. Get in here.
Oh, he said okay. He said we'll go
Okay,
first.
okay.
Sorry, Julian. We'll get you in right after. But no, seriously, boss. Thanks for letting me kind of come on and kind of make this announcement. For those, a lot of people do know already, but for those who don't, this will be my last season as a GM. Had a really, really fun time. Gonna give a ton of thanks to just a ton of different people. I don't want to waste everyone's time here, but from somebody that was an amateur my first season as a GM, I would say it was pretty obvious, and can't really blame anybody. The admins didn't even really want me. They didn't even really trust that I could GM from that kind of position. But I had a couple admins and then a couple GMs. I mean, Ncreds and Sias. Huge shout out to them. That really pushed everybody and said, no, he can do this. So I just want to say thanks for giving me that opportunity. Really want to shout out every single AGM I've had that's put in a ton of work. It's been a fantastic time. I've really enjoyed the competition, especially these last 2 seasons. I mean, huge shout out to Array and 50/50 Pizza and everyone that is there. They have a phenomenal franchise there that's really been pushing us. I'm not gonna say my first season was easy, where we won stuff. There was some competition there, and there's always been competition from some other franchises that stepped up, but 50/50's always been that we would go into off season, we go, okay, if we want to win this, we got to beat 50/50, because they're gonna be there. But I just want to say thanks. I felt like it was my time to kind of step down, let someone else take over. I'm hoping the admins give my franchise to Winner. I think he'll be absolutely phenomenal. For anybody that's not tracking, he built 2 teams this season, and the worst team that he built record-wise is 42-14. So this dude could be an absolute monster. So I'm excited to see him kind of do what he can do, but I'm also just kind of excited to step back and let all the GMs, new and old, kind of cook just like they always have. Anybody wondering, I am not leaving the league. I want to continue to be a player. Basically, a lot of it comes down with I've always wanted to do work in numbers, so I've put an application in there. I believe Mojo has kind of just taken over with numbers head, so in the off season I'll kind of reach out to him. Just kind of want to do some other stuff, and yes, Tulane, that is definitely a possibility.
Whoa! Is that poaching?
I think so. That's fine.
No, we're good.
Well,
No, I've had a lot of success, and I'm not going to gloat on myself here, but
No, I'll gloat
I've
for
been
you. It's
very
okay.
happy
Tech
to have
4.
it.
Tech 4 fit will currently as it sits, my man. You're only 0.2 behind Shamu from the Storm listed here on the all-time GM win percentage. So I mean, and that's going to be going up this season because you were 64.6. No, hold on. Where's it at?
I could jump in here. I believe I'm actually second all time in win percentage behind Snipe. Shamu has one really good season there, but it's a transition season.
It splits, it splits Shamu there. I don't know why it splits him with that, but yeah, you're 2. Oh no.
Well, so I'm 2 there, and I'm also 2 all time in championships. 1. Shamu has me there, but he's also GM'd like 10 more seasons than I have. So.
Are you saying he's eternal?
I mean, if you want to talk about potential GMs of all time, Shamu is on that list. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, dude's incredible. But I don't want to gloat about myself. I just want to say appreciate everybody. I don't know where I'll play next season. Obviously, I don't have a choice anymore. I feel like that's one of the things about being a GM is you always get to play. But I'll really enjoy that kind of player aspect of the league again, going to tryouts. Actually having to like take combines really seriously as a player. I'm excited. The RSC is a fantastic place, so I'm definitely not leaving. Just doing different things.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, Tech, are you all good? Because then if so, I'll roll into another one.
All you.
Great. Well, for those of you who can read pretty well, it says retirements with an S is in plural because I've already put in my announcement for retirement from Mediahead. It's been a fun 2 seasons, but in my opinion, it's about time to just kind of hand over the reins to somebody else. We've only really had one person show interest, and not trying to make it totally out there, but I did let the admins know if we don't see a lot of interest, I'll probably stick around for a little bit longer. But for the most part, the goal is to retire this season and step away and let somebody else just kind of run the show. Oh, ooh.
We'll jump in. No, Saul, go ahead first. I talked a lot.
Thog, are you retiring?
I'm not retiring. Unfortunately, there's only 2 announcements tonight. Although I will be retiring from playing this next season, but that's not as big of a deal. I'm just gonna be casting now. It's kind of, but you know, like all I can say is like, you know, I think that's the whole mentality of RSC is like, you know, it's a community league at the end of the day, and there's a lot of time and energy that gets put into this league, and it can be a lot of fun, but it also means that you have to put your life on hold in a lot of different areas. And so it's definitely like it's a place where I feel like you can always leave and come back, but also like know when it's your time to drop the reins on something rather than overwhelm yourself or do any sort of just overexertion in those areas. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's necessarily what's happening with either of you, but I definitely I know that like both of those roles, both media head and GMs, like that's huge time commitments. And for the 2 seasons that you've both been here, I've heard amazing things about both things that you've done and what you've brought to the league. So I mean, that's the whole point of what RSC is here for, and people like you are what make the league keep going. So no one's going to be upset that you're leaving. We're just happy that we were able to have you here for the time that we did.
Appreciate that, Thug. I did want to jump into, as somebody that's been on media committee, technically, I'm like the caster that like just shows up last minute when like no one else can do it. But like, I was able to see media. You know, I came in right when Croc took over. I believe he took it over from Tux, maybe. Croc did a phenomenal job. But, like, it was definitely at a period where media committee was ready for someone else to kind of grab it and, like, really kind of push it to the next level. And Boss, you did that. And I appreciate that. Out of any committee head, media's got to be one of the more difficult ones. Like, obviously, numbers and not transitions. What is that called?
Transactions?
Transactions. There we go.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know my words, man. Like they're very busy in certain times, but media is just like you have so many different projects under you. You know, it's not just casting, it's also running, you know, the social media stuff. It's also like working with events whenever somebody reaches out and says, "Hey, we have this thing going on like tomorrow. Can you have casters?" It's also like the end of the season show where, especially if I'm doing stuff from recognition committee, I drop the ball and everything and go, "Boss, we have this show tomorrow. Like, kind of just need you to like figure everything out. I'll be there, but like I didn't do any work." So like it's a very hard position to be in. If anybody is wanting to run for that, I mean, I really want to be clear that it is very, very difficult position.
Well, I think that's the issue, right? Like, because I've really been just kind of branch out media into a bunch of different projects, getting things updated and looking just a little bit more sleek and modern. I've had a lot of people who have been like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing it?" And they're like, "No, not a chance. Like, are you kidding me? That looks like a pain in the backside." And it's like, well, you're not wrong. You're not. You're just not wrong. But I, at least the good news is once I'm done at least with my position in media this season, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit more self-sustaining. Just because we've got some really key people and some really key spots. But I think the hardest part is if I really do take that step back, I don't know who's going to take over the podcast at this point. Because that's going to be a lot. But we'll see. I'm sure there's somebody I can pawn it off onto. But that's kind of enough about being the sob story here. We can really roll right into some solid matchups that are going to be coming up here. Let me transition this here. So, that is a little bit too far ahead of time. We don't really need... Why do I have this up here? What the heck?
What are you doing, boss?
Struggling. That's what I'm doing. Hold on.
What happened in my life?
There we go. AMI playoff bracket, because this is going to be the first one that's going to be coming up here. For those of you who have been kind of really getting into the thick of it, AMI playoffs are going to be this Monday, tomorrow, which is going to be wild, right? Because, you know, they're going to be playing all of it in the same night. It's the only thing we've got on the docket. I know we talked about potentially scheduling a second match, but it's kind of hard to do so. So it should just be a one series matchup. It'll be myself and I believe it's myself and BB Comedian. I actually pronounced that right. Holy heckaroonie. BBC Comedian. BB Comedian. Don't clip that. I hope people heard that. I hope people heard my soundboard there. That was a horrible gaffe by my part, and I'm all about it. It's on the podcast soundboard. So, but Mr. Tech, you've dealt with a lot of AMI. You've actually had a lot of very successful lower tiers in your reign as GM. Is there a team, though, that when you look at them on paper, you go, this is the team that I'm going to see win it all?
Boss, this AMI playoffs is hype as hype can get. Like, I'm always hype about AMI playoffs. Like, it is the craziest thing. But this season, I think, is like to the next level. Like, probably like my favorite AMI playoff season since I've been a GM. Maybe even since I've been in the league. And that includes when I played in AMI myself. There is some spicy matchups here. First off, House Salads, right? Like, clearly the favorite. And, well, like, we've had favorites in AMI before, right? Like, we've had teams that are, like, 5-6 games ahead of everybody. 13 games above second place. They're going to be playing against Bunts of Steel. Bunts of Steel has won 29 games. House Salads, 46. That is a 17-game lead. Now, did I just say a second ago that Bunts of Steel is probably the hottest team in AMI right now? Yes, I did. And I think that matchup might just be the finals. I love my boys. Don't I hope they're not watching right now. I hope you don't clip it and send it to them. They might be frauds. I say that because I don't know, they're frauds. But like, they're a bunch of good guys. I hope they can make a run for it. Anybody who doesn't know, I'm talking Cathilla. The Sketch Squad also a very fine team, but I think our champion comes out of Solar. I think House Salads is by far the favorite. But if anybody can beat him, Buns of Steel has a real shot.
I just want to bring up one thing, and because there's two curses in RC that currently exist. Tech Force teams going 2-2 on stream is like a 94% probability at this point still.
Yep.
And AMI first AMI first seed getting bounced is a real problem every single year. I just went ahead and double checked. I looked at season 18, 17, and 16. All three of the seasons I've really been active in the league. Season 18, Bunts of Steel knocked off number 1 Nightfall. Season 17, Rollers 3-0'd number 1 Brass. And in season 16, Surprise lost to Cathilla in the finals. So it's as much as I want to be like, oh yeah, first round House Salads, they look like that dominant team. And I mean, we broke it down. Laban and I talked about it. We glazed the heck out of 50-50 because House Salads statistically shouldn't exist. Like, it looks far too good in their tier. And my fear is that we glaze them so much that now they're going to get knocked out by Bunts of Steel, and it's going to be like, oh no.
We'll see. I mean, like, you might be right, but I don't think our number 1 seed has ever had this kind of a lead. I've seen like a number 1 and number 2 team having a big lead over everybody else. I mean, really, that like Brass Cathilla season where they both got knocked out first round, they were both way higher than 3 and 4. 3 and 4 were in finals. But like, this kind of a lead is crazy. But I have always described AMI playoffs is you give every team a 6-sided die. House Salads, whoever's that number 1 team, you erase the 1 and you like put another 6 on it. Like the number 2 seed, you might like erase a 2 and put another like 4. And then everyone just rolls their die and whoever gets the higher number wins. Like, it's so random in this tier. And anybody can beat anybody at any time, that this could be an absolute wild playoffs.
Well, we've seen it before. All it takes is one player in your starting lineup to suddenly have internet connectivity issues, or they're just not feeling it. Brass, when they got bounced, they got 3-0'd in the first round. I think they're one of their best players. Was literally, yeah, they DC'd, and they just got rolled on, and it was, all pun intended. But they got destroyed, and it was like, oh, they're knocked out. But that's just how RC is with playing online. It just happens.
I think looking at this series too, honestly, with House Salads versus Blunt, I think honestly, it's in amateur. There's a lot of growth that we see out of a lot of different players, and I think it's something that doesn't always happen immediately, but a lot of the time when you're on an amateur team, you can find that like rhythm, and some of those players go to prospect, some of those players go to contender, and you know what I mean. Like there's sometimes huge jumps, and I think that it's also because some of those players are also beginners, and they may like know the game but not have that game sense, and they're new to RSC, and I've seen this like time and time again. And I think that in a lot of cases when you're an amateur, there's a lot of room for growth. So being the number 1 seed, like they definitely have a lot of goals to, you know, sit on going into this, but like at this point you're in the playoffs. Like, it doesn't matter what you got before, you've got to get the goals now. And I think with what we saw from their previous stream here, Bunts definitely, you know, they have the momentum to carry them into this, and I think that they probably you know, smell blood in the water a little bit. And I think my personal prediction is that it's gonna be a 2-3 reverse sweep for first seed. That's just my prediction. I think that they're gonna come in with a lot of momentum, Bunts. But I think House Salads is ultimately gonna kind of find that rhythm.
Wait, so you're saying You think House Salads wins over Bunts of Steel? Is that, I guess, where your prediction is? Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
So you've got House Salads winning it. Tech, who do you have winning that series?
I have to have house salads.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll be the dissenting opinion because I can't have all of us agree. No, I fully believe Bunts of Steel are getting hot at the right time, and I don't know if it's just going to be the Cosmos aligning or what's going on, but I think the 1 seed curse continues and Bunts of Steel knocks off the House Salads. Probably 3-2 because it is best of 5, right?
Best of 7, actually.
Best of 7.
The semifinals are best of 7 now.
Yes, that was a change
Oh.
like a season or 2 ago.
Oh my
Ew.
goodness.
That tells you how little I make the playoffs. Oh, but fellas, we've been talking about this House Salad Bunts of Steel matchup. How are you guys feeling about Cathilla and Sketch Squad?
Sketchy.
Sketchy.
I'll throw it out there. I'll back my guys. I'll say Cathilla wins, but I don't feel good about it.
Thog,
Definitely,
your thoughts?
I mean, looking at the stats here, to be honest with you, there's a lot to go up against in terms of goals. So like, I just looking at their stats, they look like they're a more offensive team than what Cathilla's got. But you know, Cathilla also has more saves. I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad matchup for Cathilla. I think that's the thing is, especially now that this is a best of 7, that even changes my opinion on. We'll see about that. House Salads versus Bunts, but honestly, for this matchup here, I mean, a best of 7, there's just so much that can happen. There's so much time to work with that I think Cathilla may be the underdogs going into this, but they have just as much potential as Sketch Squad. Looking at the numbers, I think it's just whether they are going to be hot or cold that night, in my opinion.
I think we're going to see Cathilla and Bunts of Steel in the finals, and I am willing... Sorry, what's up?
That's spicy.
I think it's going to be
Hot
Cathilla
take.
Bunts of Steel in finals. Hey, it may be a hot take, but you know what? I'm doubling down. I think Bunts of Steel are going to take the chip this season. They ran into a buzzsaw that was BB Comedian last season, and you know they were on the cusp of going back-to-back in AMI. They returned probably the core of their motivational facet within their league, within their tier team, I should say, and they've made him their captain. So I mean, full on, I think that this is the team that we're gonna see make the push, win the chip, and they're gonna do it over Cathilla.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
so I mean, I would have Cathilla and House Salads in the finals, and honestly, if that's the case, I'm gonna give my boys the benefit of the doubt, and I say they're gonna take one of the games. It'll be 4-1 House Salads.
Okay, Thog, who do you have winning it all?
You know, I'm gonna say House Salads. I think House Salads does take this. They're just there's such a huge difference right now. And I do think that Bunts of Steel do have a lot of momentum, but honestly, even hearing the fact that it's like a best of 7, like there's just
You're like,
it's
nope,
gonna
that's
be
it.
difficult.
It's over.
it's gonna be difficult. I don't think it's impossible for them to do it, but I think honestly House Salads is gonna take it. And for the semifinals on the other side, you know, I'm gonna have to say Cathilla. Just looking at this as well, I'm thinking it's gonna be House Salads versus Cathilla, and I think House Salads are gonna take it. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer though. I think it's gonna be 4-2.
Weak predictions. How dare we? We don't get anything spicy. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Where's Rob when I
okay.
need him?
Well, give us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get him on the call.
Oh.
We'll just throw him in here really quick. Just
For
so we get a hot take.
but but I think that wraps up Amy pretty well, fellas. We can go ahead and jump into Tendy here, though I don't think we won't be able to talk about every Tendy matchup. I don't think, unless we want to go for an hour and a half. So we'll for Tendy and then for Prem, depending on how we're looking, we might just end up doing who we think's gonna win it all. So let me get this all queued up here. So Tendy's a little bit, yeah, they're both a little bit deeper. So I guess we could talk about all of. Well, no, we're already at 50 minutes. Holy heckaroonie! Yeah, we'll just go through. We'll pick who we think's gonna win it over who and why. And I'm gonna be honest, for Tendy, it's a little bit closer in my side of things. Because yes, 50-50 Pizzeria's Tendy team, Cheese Pizza, still a solid team. I don't think they're the team that's going to do it. I really, really, really do believe it's probably going to be, in Tech, don't hurt me, I think it's going to be Dagon because they're getting hot at the right time. They're 14-6 over the last 5. Don't. They can't see your face, but I know he just laughed at me. Oh, that was you. Wow, Thog. Wow. I still think they're going to go. They're 14-6 over the last 5. They've been playing really solid. And I think that they're going to be able to beat out, because it's probably going to be Cheese Pizza from the Solar side. I think they'll win it 4-3.
Okay. For me, this is tough. There's a few really cool storylines in here, and I'm not going to dive too deep in all of them, but, one, watch out for this Samurai team. Zur has been phenomenal. He's been getting coaching from a couple players in Mythos. Really has improved his game, especially among his teammates, allowing the entire team to have success. We joke because that almost knocked us out of playoffs. But really, really strong performer there. Obviously, Cheese Pizza is the favorite. Another 41 win team, but every other team is close here. I really like Dagon right now because, well, obviously it's my team, but this is a team that knows how to win. They know how to prepare. Players on that team, first off, Zach the Bull won it in AMI with me a few seasons ago. Illusion Chaos has been in the league for 2 seasons. His first season, he broke the all-time win record in Contender, and his second season, he broke his own all-time win record in Contender. So if there's a guy that knows how to win Contender, you gotta give him a shot here. Also, Ghosty has been coaching that team, so they've been playing really well lately. I've been really proud of them. It's gonna be tough. I'm gonna say Cheese Pizza makes the finals on the Solar side. As much as I do like Samurai, I think Cheese Pizza is just a better team overall. Dagon, their biggest challenge. I mean, obviously Wisp is no easy matchup, but last time Dagon played Pastry Pioneers 4-0'd. So it's going to be hard to get through that matchup as well. I think they have a shot. But I think if I'm trying to be a realist here, I have to go with the 1-2 matchup in the finals. I'm going to say Cheese Pizza, Pastry Pioneers finals. And of course I say Solar side. That's just that side of the bracket. There is no actual Lunar and Solar. But I'm going to say Pastry Pioneers takes it 4-3. And it's really going to be an overtime in Game 6 that, makes the entire matchup really interesting.
I like that a lot, and I think that, looking at the matchup, there's a lot to go up against in terms of Pastry Pioneers, but I am curious, was there before the 4-0 recently, has there been a player change at all? You guys made any roster changes?
So we haven't made any roster changes, but we've had quite a few matchups where 1 or 2 players couldn't make it, and we've had to play some subs. So there is just not exactly a consistent roster over every one of our matchups.
Interesting.
Well, Thog, I guess maybe I missed it. Did you make a prediction here?
You know what? I am going to say, are we talking about prediction for finals?
Who do you think is going to be in the finals? Who do you think is going to win finals, etc.,
Uh,
etc.?
I'm gonna say Samurai is going to make it.
Ooh,
Samurai is gonna to take cheese pizza in seven, Champions Field, and then I think that um, I think it's gonna be Pastry on the other side of that, and I think Pastry are gonna take it 4-2.
okay. So similar-ish prediction, but instead of you saying Pastry Pioneers beating out Cheese Pizza, you're saying Pastry Pioneers is going to beat out the 4-seed Samurai for the chip. Gotcha. Ooh, spicy. Well, we've already got it up on screen. That kind of covers Contendi here, and now we're into Prem. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't really see anybody winning Prem outside of, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, Hawk Attack.
Oh, that's not who I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna say.
You thought I was gonna say Tarbage
Really?
Crux, but dude, they're 10-10 in the last 5, and that makes me really nervous.
I got another prediction besides those two.
Oh, okay.
And my prediction would have them beating Hawk Attack in the semis. I'm going with
Oh,
Viperfish. So this team,
okay.
very good. They are 13-7 over the last 5. According to outside information I'm getting, Arrow, who is also in chat, has broken the Prem goal record, has tied the Prem hat trick record, and then Mike, who is also on that team, has broken the assist record in Prem. That team is cooking. I think Hawk Attack is incredible. I think Garbage Grux, even though their last 10 isn't amazing, is still a very good team. But I think Viperfish is going to come out of the 3rd seed and win this.
Damn.
Wow. All right. Thog, who do you have here?
That's a hard take to follow, man. I mean, I'm thinking, I definitely think Viperfish take it against Crooked. Looking at the stats here, I mean, I don't think I think that Crooked has the potential, but they got a mountain to climb it. And with what you're saying about their roster right now, I don't think that they have that quarterfinals in the bag. I think it's going to be Viperfish, but I think Viperfish versus Hawk Attack. I don't know, man. I'm sticking with Hawk on this one. I'm sticking with Hawk, and I think it's going to be a 1 versus 2 seed in this grand final, and I think Hawk is going to take it.
Well, and I think this is where it comes down to really who's going to match up where. Because, like, if we talk about Viperfish or Interstellar playing against the Tarbage Crux, we're looking at likely Tarbage Crux being knocked out. Because for those of you who haven't been following, Interstellar just 4-0'd Tarbage Crux. And then before that, Viperfish 3-1'd the Tarbage Crux. So they're a team that definitely, when I look at it, it looks like it's Viperfish or Interstellar there. Now, Hawk Attack has been playing pretty solidly through the last few match days. They 2-2'd the Gummy Bears. They 4-0'd Double Mint. Granted, Double Mint not exactly doing the best this time of season, so it's 4-0 isn't exactly as nice as you would have liked to see. They 3-1 the Radishes. I might have to jump on the Viperfish bandwagon here now that I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Tech. I gotta jump on your bandwagon here. I think you're right. I think it might be the Viperfish.
The only thing I will say is my outside source has failed me. Arrow is saying in chat was 6 games off for breaking the record, or 6 goals off, but like did miss 2 whole series.
Oh man, but it's not the broken record.
No.
Tisk. Oh, fellas, I think that kind of wraps up pretty well the night. I love that I had the Tendy playoff title up there the entire time instead of Prem. because I'm totally slacking on production production here. Let me get that up.
Hey,
There
thank
you go.
Honestly.
About such. I mean, realistically, about such. But no, I think that wraps us up quite nicely for week 8. We'll go ahead and we will probably call it a night. Dog Tech, any thoughts for the upcoming week?
I mean, I'm just gonna say, good luck to all the teams that we talked about tonight that are starting their playoffs tomorrow.
Yeah.
But also good luck to all the teams that, I guess it would be Chally and Prospect are playing their last game of the series on Monday, trying to get into playoffs, and then their playoffs start Wednesday. And then good luck to the other tiers. I think Master might be in that group too. But then good luck to all the other tiers who have 2 match days left. Trying to get into playoffs. I'm sure we'll talk about you next week, but this is like the really fun time of the year for RSC. So good luck to everybody. Don't screw it up.
And just one piece of advice for anyone who may not be making the playoffs this season, but you want to do better next season. Definitely try to make the finals for your tier, and watch that go down. And that's a really good way to get an understanding of what you need to do to improve for the next season, and kind of what you have up against you in a lot of ways. So. I think that everybody has the potential, but RSC is a community league, so I'm definitely excited to see everybody throw it down in the playoffs, and just have fun with it, honestly, because that's what we're here for. And yeah, appreciate you letting me join you tonight, boss.
Letting you join, buddy. You're a founding member. You can be on whenever you want. So not a big deal, my man. Thank you for being on. Thank you, Tech, for joining us. But I've been Boss Rodella. This week's going to be pretty interesting. Just to recap, on the 18th, tomorrow, Monday, we've got our Amy Finals. Going to be at 10:30, casted by yours truly and BB Comedian. Wednesday, that 10D Prem Finals we were just talking about, is going to be so far casted by Thog, which we have no other caster listed, so I'm hoping Thog doesn't have to cast by himself. We'll figure that out. We'll get somebody on the desk with him. But that'll be at 9:30 and 10:15 respectively, so it's going to be a little bit sooner than we normally do 4 matches. It's a good thing that I'm not even on a team, so I can at least watch it. But otherwise, this has been the PreJump Season 19 Week 8. We will go ahead and catch you later.